Good morning, everyone. Hello. Hi, this is Ankush. I'm welcome to the AI by Nerd or AI by Ankush. So you can call it anything. So this is my first YouTube video for an AI series. Basically, we're gonna talk about the ChatGPT. So what ChatGPT is all about. I think is going forward, all of the work would be done by the AI. So I think today I'm gonna talk about a bit more about ChatGPT. So for a very layman people, so I think what we are trying to do here is like ChatGPT gives you an option where you can just put some text and give you an output. So each text is called a token. Each text is called a token. So basically what is happening in a very simple terms is it is trying to predict the next token. For example, if you say how, right, if you type how and you send it, press enter in the keyboard, it will be making all the use cases and it's gonna predict the what next word you're gonna put or what next token it could be. It could be how are you, how it is done, how things are done, how it is going. So so it tries to predict. So I think what we are trying to do here is like ChatGPT gives you an option where you can just put some text. And so once it has a prediction, it like goes ahead and then try to give you the output. And the how output is done, basically, that's where the AI chips are there. They are doing so much of parallel processing at the same time. It is trying to give you the compute the output and give you the output it should be and the way it is trained on. So basically, you might be thinking that why do you need AI? You might be in the finance, you might be in the HR, or you might be a tradie. But why do you need why you want to learn the AI? Why you should be at least familiar with the AI? Just a shocker based on the research that I've been doing. There are so many papers you can see online, so much of stuff. AI is gonna change the world in next 5 years or so, and it has. So the first question is, I think you might all be thinking is, what is really AI? AI is something in art is called artificial intelligence, meaning that in a very simple terms, uh, something that you have artificially created, it's not something that is already there. So you are creating it artificially, right? It is the same kind of a program, or it's a very big, large language program, you can say, which basically is trained on huge amount of data related to everything. So you could have a general AI intelligence, and the general AI intelligence is something that could be there in the next 3 to 4 years or 5 years or 10 years maybe. But exactly what it does is they are smarter systems. They actually can understand what you are trying to ask, totally on text, totally on any images. For example, you have a option, you want to you have a very blurred image, that you cannot read it properly. You just send it to an AI system. It should be able to give you an output, give you what exactly that it is. I give you this example. So I've just added this photo to the one of the AI system called ChatGPT, and I just entered that and I asked it to summarize that. It just summarized me. It's gonna take 10 to 12 pages, 12 to 12 minutes for me to go ahead and then do that summarization, but it did it in just one go. So that's really, really very, very good, right? So it's gonna take 10 to 12 pages, 12 to 12 minutes for me to go ahead and then do that summarization, but it did it in just one go. So how that's other use case example could be is like, let's say you have a document or you have some text, something in some other language, but you really want it to be translated in it. So how can you translate it? So something easy way to translate is send that data to the large language model, and they should be able to give you an output and give you a summarization. So that is how it is being done, and so powerful. But you all must be wondering how it does all of that in the background, right? It is smarter as it is actually smarter, like we are smarter, like as a human being, but it's still not a human. It's not livable, right? So it doesn't think like that way. It is trying to think like that way. Companies like ChatGPT, Google, they are trying to make it like something like that, that will be called artificial general intelligence. It is a time when the systems will start thinking in their own. Would, like, for example, they will start improving the machines by themselves. That's the time we call it artificial intelligence. Now there are different types of AIs. first one I can talk about is a narrow AI. Narrow AI could be something you can categorize the applications like Google, or maybe you can categorize something like Google Maps, or maybe a Netflix recommendation. So you know that once you open Netflix or any other OTT platform, it gives you some suggestions and recommendations. So all of these are basically done based on how the user is interacting with it, how they are trying to interact with it. That's how it is being done, right? So let's say if a user is watching too much of action movies, and one of the actor is, for example, Tom Cruise, so they might try to give something similar to Tom Cruise, or and then if they watch one more emotional movie, or try to search for emotional or romantic movies, they'll try to give them. That's how the recommendations of Netflix work. So that basically just an algorithm they have developed. They basically looking at how the user is interacting with it, right? And also the Google Maps. In the Google Maps, they try to find a shorter distance, to based on the mobile, based on the two vehicles going and how much they are taking time. They try to learn it, and there's an aspect of things that's called machine learning. The other thing which is basically very important, the other type of AI is called the generative AI. That's what we in the era we are also in the moment, which is the things, the apps that we have called the ChatGPT, or then the apps you have called Google Gemini, Claude. All of these are AIs, and other so many number of apps. So basically they are generative because they have the capability. They are currently working as we have trained those based on the data, as I mentioned. So the model that they are trying to behave is on the train data, right? So that's what basically the generative AI is, that it can generate, but it's based on the training that we have done. So how are they done? How are they predicted? So because, as I mentioned, they are trained on a huge amount of data. So the data that there are a lot of companies that work on data. So first they need to make sure the data is they have taken the data out of it, and once the data is there, then they should be able to refine that data, and then they build a model. The model is basically nothing, it's just the algorithm, or you could say it's some number of steps. For example, if you have a robot, if you want it to go from point A to point B and take 2 turns, then you define in the algorithm that after 50 meters you have to take a right turn and take a left turn and then reach to point B. But that's how it is being trained. So in the same way, that data is basically trained to that model. That model is called algorithm, and that is called large language model. So you're training that with the help of a data, and the data is basically the gold, is basically the food for the AI, right? So children, it's the holy grail. Basically, we're talking about the time when it's gonna be the time when it's gonna do the stuff by itself, when it's gonna change and update and upgrade by itself. Doesn't gonna need that. That's what with time is called general intelligence. So do you want to consider more examples for the AI? I would say is, for example, they're already in front of us from a very long time. They have been doing this from a very, very long time. They're actually around us from a very long time. So for example, Google making an the Gmail understanding an email as a spam, flagging it as a spam, was always there, right? So yeah, it's not that powerful, but it used to do its work, right? So let's say if any email received from anywhere, it just tries to find that is it a spam or not, based on our past interactions with the Gmail. So another example could be is a Spotify trying to use or trying to choose the next song to be played. That there are a few examples like that you could have, which are around us and are already using AI. So I'm not just making a video to share my knowledge, but basically I'm just telling, also warn you, like you have, this is the right time to start using these apps. If you are a writer, if you are a creator, if you are anything, I think it's a time to start using the ChatGPT. The Nvidia is one of the biggest companies of the US who makes the chips, like the chips basically used in a gaming world, and now they are also using in the AI world as well. What the CEO of that company has said, that AI is not gonna take the job. It is the person who's using the AI is gonna take your job away. there are so many new applications that are rising day by day. For example, VO3, which is released by Google, they are creating a very good video, and you can't even imagine the video that they are trying to create. It looks absolutely real. I'll give you this one in my, if you can see in my screen, is one of the videos, raised created by the VO3, and it looks like a damn real thing.
So tell me, what are the latest advancements with ChatGPT?
Well, we're seeing incredible progress in its ability to understand context and generate more nuanced responses.
So what I'm trying to make a point here is not just use, if you are a techie, only use AI. It's for every field. It's gonna disrupt every field. So it's better you start learning these tools today. Make your kids start learning them. Of course, there are some good guardrails. You need to make sure that yeah, I think there are some very good applications for the kids as well that are coming, which are embedded with the AI. So you please start doing that. Yeah, that's what I say. Another example I'll tell you is something like the doctors which are here today are basically trying to diagnose the diseases before. So they're using the AI features, AI algorithms, and there's many AI apps does that. So if you put your scans or everything, it will try to predict what could happen in the next 5 years, which is really, really good, and can start basically making sure that those disease doesn't come to your body. So these are already here. So one of the example I could tell you is something that I did recently, was using the ChatGPT is building my own itinerary. I don't need any experts advice from the travel agents. I could just go to the ChatGPT and ask, like you can see, so I'm planning to go to Queenstown. What is the important things that I have to take care if I'm going with 2 kids? So he just gave me all the itineraries and all the places and everything. You can see how it is done. It's just took 10 or 15 seconds or so, something like that, and it's able to give me that sort of information, and it's quite reliable because it has done all of the research. Yeah, it's really good. One thing I want to say, that AI is not a future thing. AI is happening now, so it's best we should start learning and start talking about it with everyone. I think it's really very important, because it's gonna have wider impact, a positive impact, and could have negative impact as well, but it's a time when you should understand. So thank you so much for watching. In the next episode, I think I'll talk about how the ChatGPT works. So I have to do a bit of a research on that. I've been also doing it for a while, but I'll do it, and I'll share some more insights with you. So till the time, thank you so much for watching. Till the time, thank you so much for watching, and good, have a good day. Thank you. Bye.